I gotta take the big old L on this one. I kind of dropped off when it came to coverage of this trial, mostly because I didn't do the requisite reading over the weekend, and yeah, man, I just kind of fell off when it came to it. Like, the interest in it and just kind of waned. I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow that way at all whatsoever. I don't find her engaging. I find her just really unpleasant, even to just be around in a digital format. But her trial wound up yesterday, and within, what, 2 hours, 20 minutes, they had a verdict, and yeah, she ends up taking the W and then just being really bitchy about it on the way out. So, yeah, man, has a bit of a wrap-up. She took the W in the case. Fantastic. By everything that I see and everything that I read and a little bit of the recap, it seemed like Terry Sanderson, the plaintiff in this case, when he took the stand, it was just not very convincing. It just really looked like, he was, didn't perform well on the stand, and it just kind of threw the jury off, more than likely, because it only took 2 hours, 20 minutes. Regardless of how awful Paltrow was on the stand, I suppose Sanderson was even worse. So let's do the post-mortem on this, because I said I would provide that, but outside of this, man, like, if I never see Pepper Potts again, it'll be too soon. Paltrow wins ski crash lawsuit and says she fought a $300,000 case to defend her integrity. Yuck. A Star tells deflated optometrist 76, I wish you well. Yeah, pats him on the shoulder and says, good luck, kid. Yo, just terrible. Just a despicable human being. Paltrow, who won the ski crash case against retired optometrist Terry Sanderson, who claims she caused a collision in 2016 that left him with lasting brain damage. Jurors found that Sanderson, 76, was the one to blame from the crash at the posh Utah ski resort 7 years ago. Yeah, we've seen some demonstrations and a couple of digital recreations of it, and it's like, wow, you guys bought that, huh? All right, then. It took just 2 hours and 20 minutes for the jury to reach their verdict on Thursday. Yo, that's just like the Alec Murdaugh trial, which, again, I kind of seen from afar, mostly because that shit took way too long, and I watched, or at least listened to a couple of days of court proceedings, and that shit was so fucking slow. I couldn't be asked to even spend a single day covering that, mostly because it's like, okay, what did you guys actually prove? Well, he's a bit of a scumbag. Quite a bit of a scumbag, and has really sticky fingers. All right, but did he kill his family? Well, he had a bad performance on the stand. Okay, did he kill his... yeah, he was down at the kennels thanks to a Snapchat. Okay, can you put the gun in his head? Oh, okay, you actually can't, but because there's enough extra stuff on top of it, you can just kind of infer. Fan-fucking-tastic. Kind of seems like this situation here as well, and if this signals the beginning of the perversion of the justice system, even more than it already is, and take into account like 60% of people in law school right now are females, the West is collapsing in rapid time. Anyways, as Paltrow left the court, she touched Sanderson's shoulder. Say that even twice fast, and said, I wish you well. He told reporters outside the courthouse he responded, thank you, dear. Mostly because yelling the C word at the top of his lungs probably wouldn't have, given a good lasting image. The decision comes after 8 days of live-streamed courtroom testimony that drew worldwide audiences. Not really, and became a pop culture fixation. Again, like, I've seen a couple of people talking about it and covering it, and for the first week, it was desolate. It was just a who gives a shit lawsuit. I did a couple of videos. They did moderately well on the channel, and then other things happened, like a tranny shooting up a school. Like, that seems to take a little bit more precedent than Scallerson, who looks like she's trying to get into Hogwarts. Like, all right. It had all the makings of a very interesting trial, but maybe it was just timing. Good timing for her, W for her, I guess. The actress smiled and waved at photographers as she made her way out of the courtroom, but refused to comment. Yeah, of course, because she said her one bitchy thing on the way out, and now she's just gonna go laugh about, how she bowled into an optometrist and got away with it, because white woman privilege. You don't have enough evidence in order to rule in the old white guy's favor, so just give her the benefit of the doubt. Paltrow's attorney read a statement from the actress outside court. Oh, God, strap in for this nonsense. We're pleased with the outcome and appreciate the judge and jury's consideration. Gwyneth has a history of standing up for what's right. Yuck. And selling mediocre, shitty-smelling candles. Fantastic. That also explode. And being an unlikable airhead. Fantastic. And this situation is no different. She will continue to stand up for what's right. Not the right, though. They're evil. A statement was released by her representatives. Yo, she had her attorney and then her representatives talk. Yo. I felt that, Merch, acquiescing to a false claim compromised my integrity. The representative for Paltrow said, I am pleased with the outcome and I appreciate all the hard work from Judge Holmberg and the jury and thank them for their thoughtfulness. And I'll just go ahead and sign any copies of Shakespeare in Love, or Shallow Hal, or any of the Avengers films that I've been in afterwards if you just like to, stand around. And I'm sure I can have a representative do that. Meanwhile, a deflative Sanderson said he stands by his version of the events despite losing the case. Asked what his plans to do next, he joked, maybe Disneyland. Maybe that's why nobody cared about this in the grand scheme of things. Like, it was a pop culture phenomenon. Like, 2 people. I don't even know who was watching this shit live. Like, I seen some recaps after the fact. But normally, if there's even a moderately interesting case, some lawyers on YouTube are going to live stream it. But the guys that I follow, nobody cared, bro. Mostly because, yeah, both sides of it. And it was like, okay, you have Gwyneth Yuck Paltrow. And then you have a guy who at the end of it, he's like, he's lost. Okay, he's still got brain damage and a busted family. He's like, I'll go to Disneyland, I guess. I understand it's a good joke and all that stuff. And you don't want to take it too seriously. But, yo, she comes over like that and pats you on the shoulder and says, better luck next time. You know what? If he wanted to be a true grifter, he would have just, folded in his shoulder and went, ah! Oh, God! Oh, she's attacking me again! That would have been funny. Speaking outside court, Sanderson's lawyer, Kristen Van Orman, said that she was not starstruck by Paltrow and added, oh, was that the one who cross-examined her? Seemed kind of lackadaisical as well. I've been a lawyer for 30 years and juries never surprise me. Yeah. Of course, they took the more charismatic side of the story because the jury, they're supposed to follow the facts in the case, but when it's all said and done, if there's a charismatic void between the two parties, you're going to go with the other side that appeals to your emotion, and you have an award-winning actress, and then you got a mentally flumpy old dude on the other side. Who's going to be able to weave a better narrative? Just saying. The dismissal concludes 2 weeks of courtroom proceedings that hinged largely on the reputation rather than the monetary damages at stake. All I want is $1. Yeah, we know, bitch. Paltrow's attorneys described the complaint against her as utter BS and painted the Goop founder CEO as uniquely vulnerable to unfair, frivolous lawsuits due to her celebrity. See, she's just so far above everybody that she's just getting hit with lawsuits all the time. Yeah, but how often do you cause accidents on ski hills? Just wondering, man. And he only asked for $300,000, which is all very interesting and seems very reasonable, but all right. While the data 3, Sanderson says that the actress skied into him while admitting maybe that should be what he described as the best hysterical scream you've ever heard. Okay, Paltrow says he crashed into her, causing her to lose half a day of skiing. Yo, that was the only thing that I seen pop out of this from the past couple of days that we haven't been covering this all too seriously. Yeah, her response to all this stuff was, yeah, I lost a half day of skiing. And it's like, you got barreled into, didn't have any injuries after the fact. This dude had broken ribs and a severe concussion to the point where he was knocked out. But you were just more concerned about the half day that you wouldn't get reimbursed. But it's not about monetary damages. All right. Sanderson filed for damages in January of 2019, initially seeking $3.1 million. See, that makes more sense. The sum was reduced by the judge. Oh, okay, so the judge reduced it to $300,000 in compensation. Okay. I'm starting to see why everything might have been skewed against our old boy right here. Because there's a still of the recreation, and there was also a video that was played. We'll play some of it because it's kind of interesting the way that Gwyneth Paltrow's side of this, because we had other recreations, maybe that was by Daily Mail, that are made for the accounts of the Sanderson side of this equation, but That don't make no sense at all whatsoever, the way that it's being described right here, and especially the way that he would have theoretically thread this needle, because there you have Paltrow lying on top of Sanderson with the skis between her legs in one of the most interesting ways to fall possible, and then you have Ramon, fetch me a ski pole to shove up this man's ass. All the way up there on the hill. If you get that reference, you rule. But yo, like I said, we got, okay, come on, let's get to the footage. Yeah, here we go. Just play it, man. Come on, I don't really need to hear your narration or any shit like that. But okay, yeah, so this is the Green Hill or some shit like that. Okay, yeah, okay, just go ahead. Come on, I wanted to see it in action. Okay, there we go. Yeah, as you can see, okay, so Paltrow right there, Sanderson, would-be attacker right there. He's going to try to thread the needle. It's like he's seen everybody else that was down there. Okay, Christensen, Moses, Oaks, Apple, Banana, Fruit Juice, everybody else that was on the other side of the hill. And then he decided to pick her off like a fucking deer. Like, what are we doing here? Because, yeah, okay, so Paltrow, being a intermediate skier who skied her entire life, is hugging to the inside rail. Like, that don't make a lick of sense. But Sanderson... what, he just loses control, or he's like, aha, easy pickings, and this convinced people? Like, what the fuck is going on here, man? Like, don't make a lot of sense. But again, I didn't follow the trial that closely. I'm just doing this out of due diligence. It's just interesting. Sanderson's lawyers attempted to portray their client as someone who was lively and active before the accident, but significantly altered afterwards. Seemed to have a lot of character witnesses in order to back that stuff up. And Paltrow, on the other side, I just know famous people, and I lost the half day of skiing. And so Sanderson told the court, I just remember everything was great, and then I heard something I've never heard on a ski resort, and that was a blood-curdling scream. Well, yeah, blood-curdling scream's a lot different than the technical term for blood-curdling scream, but yeah, I'd imagine that's probably not something that you'd be accustomed to hear literally anywhere, because it doesn't exist. And then boom, and a bang, and John Madden was at the top of the hill narrating the entire attack. Boom, and then she hit him in the back, and it hit him real hard. It was like boom, and tough acting and acting. It was like somebody was out of control and going to hit a tree, and I was going to die. But then I remembered until I was hit. I got hit in the back of my head so hard, right at my shoulder blades. And the first, and the fists and the poles were right there, and at the bottom of my shoulder blades, serious smack, he added. Never been hit that hard. But yo, man, look at all these... Oh, and like I said before, it's like, okay, maybe after the weekend, the gallery's going to fill up, and hey, lo and behold. I guess this was for closing arguments, but her pulling all of these funny-ass faces at different times, it didn't clue the jury into the inauthenticity, or maybe they were just wrapped up. We're never going to know, because juries are flumpy, but it all comes down to being able to tell a good tale at the end of the day, because I don't know if you guys are all that familiar with a case from back in 2008 involving a mother who more than likely would have ended the life of her 3-year-old child in order to just go party and live her best life. Casey Anthony. You guys might remember that trial that went on as well, and she was basically dead to rights, and the last person to ever see the kid alive lied about the entire story for the better part of 2 months, 31 days the kid was missing. Oh yeah, she got abducted by the nanny, Zenaida Gonzalez Fernandez, right? Yeah, the nanny took her. The nanny never existed. She lied to police officers. She lied to her family. And then she came up with this fantastical story on the stand that she had to learn how to lie because her father was doing atrocious things to her from a very, very, very young age. But because her lawyer, Jose Baez, could weave a masterful narrative and can control the emotions of the jury, she ended up walking free, not outside of some perjury charges of lying to police officers, which they had her dead to rights on, obviously. She never went away for any of the heinous actions that she may or may not have done against her kid. So that's why if you ever find yourself in the confines of a courtroom, civil or criminal, make sure that your lawyer is a good speaker, eloquent person, is authoritative in their language, and then also can make the connection, because, hey man, they can get you off with anything between murder or an assault on a high-end ski resort. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.